Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a role that's pretty much defining the future of technology as we speak, the AI project manager.
So, you might be thinking, okay, great, another fancy title. Is this just a regular project manager with AI slapped on the front? Someone who just wrangles timelines and budgets? Well, think again. It's so much more than that. And honestly, the best way to get your head around this role is to stop thinking manager and start thinking architect.
Right. Because what's the first thing an architect does? They don't just show up and start laying bricks, right? No. They start with a detailed blueprint. And for an AI project manager, that blueprint is everything. It's about defining the entire project with absolute precision from the get-go.
So you've got this amazing idea for an AI project. Where does our architect even begin? Well, their first job, and maybe the most important, is to ask the right questions. We need to make sure what we're building is actually valuable, that it's technically feasible, and, this is huge, that it's responsible.
And it's a really structured process. You can't just jump in. Step 1, you have to dig deep and truly identify the problem you're trying to solve. What's the real business pain point here? Then, step 2, and this is a big one, evaluate if AI is even the right tool. Sometimes it's not. Step 3 is all about defining the scope, drawing the line so this thing doesn't spiral out of control. And finally, you've got to determine the ROI. You have to make the case that this is all worth it.
And this is where things get really interesting. The risk assessment. You're constantly balancing these huge potential rewards against some pretty serious risks. On one hand, you could have massive cost savings. Huge! But on the other, an AI failure could literally disrupt your core business. Ethically, you could improve fairness, or you could accidentally create a system with discriminatory outcomes. It's a high-wire act for sure.
Okay, so all of that work, the problem statement, the cost-benefit analysis, the risk assessment, it all gets bundled into one critical document, the business case. This is it. This is your pitch, your core argument for why this project deserves time, money, and that all-important buy-in from the higher-ups. All right, let's move on. Phase 2. The blueprint is approved, everyone's excited. Now, the architect's focus shifts to what is, without a doubt, the most critical part of any structure, the foundation.
So in the world of AI, what is that foundation? What's the one thing that everything else is built on top of? The answer is, well, it's simple, but it's also profoundly important. It's the data.
Think about it. A weak foundation of concrete ruins the entire skyscraper, right? It's the same in AI. A weak foundation of biased, incomplete data will absolutely doom your model. It's the #1 source of failure. That's why your job, as the architect, is to be obsessed with making sure that data is clean, that it's representative of the real world, and that it's the solid bedrock your model needs.
And a huge part of ensuring data integrity is this concept called data lineage. It sounds technical, but just think of it like an audit trail for your data. It's a complete record that documents where every piece of data came from and every single thing that happened to it along the way. This isn't just for show, it's absolutely crucial for being able to trust the system.
So in this phase, the architect is basically a quality inspector. You're constantly asking these tough questions. Accuracy. Does this data actually reflect reality? Completeness. Are we missing huge chunks of information here? Consistency. Does this data from System A actually line up with data from System B? And maybe most important of all, representativeness. Does our data fairly reflect all the different people and scenarios it's going to see in the wild?
Okay, so our foundation is solid, the data is clean. Now we can finally move to phase 3, overseeing the build. This is the construction phase, where the team is actually developing and testing the AI model.
But here's the thing. Overseeing the build isn't just about making sure things are happening fast. It's about navigating some really tricky trade-offs. And honestly, this is where the AI architect has to guide the team through some of the toughest decisions of the whole project.
And this table just lays it out perfectly. This is the core tension in AI development. You're always playing this balancing act. You want the highest performance, right? The most accurate model. But that usually means a more complex model. And more complex models, they're more expensive to run and they're way harder to explain. They become these black boxes. So as the architect, you're constantly in the middle, balancing the push for raw accuracy with the absolute need for a model that's efficient and, just as importantly, understandable.
So after all that work, after the blueprint, the foundation, the build, you get to this moment, the critical question. Is this thing actually ready for the real world? It's the final go/no-go decision.
And you, as the architect, you're the final gatekeeper. This checklist has to be all green before you open the gates.
Did it meet the performance targets we set way back in the blueprint? Is it robust enough to handle the messy, unexpected stuff the real world is going to throw at it? Has it been validated for fairness across all groups? And is every single decision and limitation documented? No cutting corners here.
But you know, through all these phases we've talked about, from the blueprint to the foundation to the final build, there's one thing, one principle that has to be woven through every single step. It's like a golden thread that connects it all.
And that golden thread is trust. A constant, relentless focus on building trustworthy AI. And you can see here, trust isn't just one thing. It rests on these 4 pillars. Privacy, keeping data secure. Fairness, actively mitigating bias. Transparency, being able to explain your decisions. And accountability, having that clear audit trail so you know who's responsible. It's not a feature you bolt on at the end. It's the whole point. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? In AI, trust isn't a feature. It's the entire architecture. That really gets to the heart of it. Your job isn't just to manage a project. It's to architect a system that is fundamentally worthy of trust. So the model is built, it's deployed, the job's done, right? Well, for the AI architect, is the job ever truly done? And that's the final thought I want to leave you with. Because AI models can drift over time, and the world itself changes, the work of ensuring trust never really stops. It's a continuous cycle of monitoring, of learning, and of constant improvement.